Hello everybody. Okay, so the exhaust manifold has come for the MR2, so we're going to be putting that on today. I've had a few problems with getting the old exhaust off. The nuts and bolts are absolutely ruined, so we're going to go a little hardcore. We're going to start cutting things off. Basically, I've got a new manifold, so I'm going to cut the manifold into bits, just to get everything off the car, so we can get the new subframe on, we can get the new header on, then we can start splitting everything down and making things work after that. So keep tuned, keep watching. If everybody could like and subscribe these videos as well, that would be absolutely amazing. Sorry, like the videos and subscribe. That would be phenomenal, because it really helps with growing the channel. Okay everybody, it seems like it's going to rain here, so I'm going to have to be quick with doing some of this stuff. What we're going to do though is, first of all, we're going to take out these O2 or lambda sensors, as people call them. So I'm going to show you this special tool. This is specifically for taking oxygen sensors out. Sadly for me, it works on a 3/8 inch drive, not a 1/2 inch, but hopefully it won't be too difficult to take out, because my 1/2 inch would give me a chance to use my impact wrench if there were a problem, but this one seems quite easy, to be honest. I'm assuming it's quite new. It looks a bit sooty. That's not the best condition for that to be in. And that one came out quite easily as well. That was pretty cool. Now I'm looking in at my precats, and at least one of them looks like it's started to crack and cause problems. So this job isn't being done too early at all. This is just right time. They're starting to break up. They're starting to cause problems. That's going to cause issues inside the engine. It's going to get into the cylinders and cause problems with oil, getting burned and all sorts of problems. So let's get in out of the rain and let's come back out in a bit. Right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back to the car. So we have the O2 sensors off down here. These two bolts are a nightmare, so we're going to have to cut them out. So I'm going to get the grinder on them now, grind the heads off. This then has two bolts down here at the front that I'm going to try and get off, but if I can't for any reason, again, I can just cut them with the angle grinder and we'll see where we can go. Headphone users, watch out. Okay everyone, that's the top two taken off. Just going to try these bottom two with a socket set. Looks like it's going to be a 10mm, like everything else on this car. Okay everybody, I'm going to try and get the bottom end off first, because the top's becoming a bit of a pain. So if I can get this out of the way, I can get access to grind the top. So this is the lower. Oh, and it doesn't want to come out. It's the lower O2 sensor. Wow. That is in good and strong, guys. That is in good and strong. Let's try one more time. All the way in. There we go. Let's unclip it. And unscrew it. That took some force. I do have a replacement for this one, because this one's giving me an error for the heater. The heater wiring is having problems of some kind, and let's be honest, that's disgusting and black and filthy. So we're going to put all those O2 sensors out the way for now, and we're going to try and get onto these two to get the back box off. If we can get the back box off, and then get access to them screws and the heat shield a bit better, and hopefully get the heat shield off, then the screws underneath for the manifold, and then the cat, and blah blah blah. So as you've all seen, these two have been an absolute pain to get off. The access to this one has never been great, and this one here, I've tried and I've tried and I've tried. So I'm going to try the last thing, which is some heat before I start getting the grinder out and cutting things. So let's get my blowtorch on it and start heating it up. How hot is anyone's guess. If I had an oxyacetylene type torch, a gas torch, I would get this so it was glowing red hot. And then as you let it start cooling a little, so it stops being red hot, but then it goes back to normal colour, but it's still actually too hot to touch, you would then be able to just crack the seal. However, I don't have that. I have a little Bernzomatic TS 1100, which is not very hot at all. So we're going to get it as hot as we can, and hopefully that'll be enough to expand the two metals at slightly different rates, break the seal, and allow me to impact wrench the bolt out. And the colour's changing a little bit on this, so it looks like it is getting really nice and hot. Let's give that a go. And that does not want to budge, so I think we're going to end up cutting in there. How we're going to do the other side, I don't know, but we'll work it out. What I've done here, guys, is just taking this heat shield out that's here so I can get better access, that's all. What I'm doing now is I can't get access to this bolt properly, and I want to keep the cat. I don't want to damage the cat, just because it's going to save me 170 quid, and there's nothing wrong with the catalytic converter as it stands. So if I can, I'll save it. This, however, I don't care about because it's the back box. So I've tried to cut in here, but can't cut through because things aren't big enough. My disc isn't big enough to cut all the way through, so I'm going to have to go and get some more discs. Bear with me a second, guys. Well, that was a lot of work. So I had to cut a big chunk out so I could get the blade to reach the back, but it's alright because that's all off now. So once we get this top, I'm going to cut this bolt here. Once I do, this top plate will come off. The catalytic converter is at the minute all okay and working fine. So the back box can come out now. Well, that was a mess. Still have this on here. Still have a piece of the hanger. Still have a piece of the hanger, but the two bolts are off. So the top piece is off. Now, to sort this out, we need to remove 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5, which all look ridiculously, and I mean ridiculously, rusty. And I'm pretty sure they're going to give me all the same problems I've had on all the other nuts and bolts. So I may have problems here, but I'm going to give it a go either way. So first of all, I don't know whether to cut this whole manifold off just through the pipes and get rid of it out of the way, make things a little bit easier to get to stuff. I think that might be the case, to be honest. I think that might be the best way. And remember, I've got a new manifold. I don't have a new back box yet. That's on order, or will be on order in the next couple of hours. So all I have to save is the catalytic converter. That's it. That's all I have to worry about. So if I can cut the header off and get these bolts out, awesome. So for those that haven't seen this technique, if you get a socket, ratchet, whatever, and get a spanner, you can use this as a lever, right, which will help you start the bolts and nuts. Once you get them started, the impact wrench will do the job. It's just getting them started in the first place that's the issue. So this gives you leverage to get it going. Now I've got access and I can get my impact wrench. So now I've done that little bit of leverage. These should come out with the impact wrench. And I actually wanted this stood out, so that's a good thing that that's come out with it. It doesn't make any difference to me because I've got new studs. I actually ended up not needing to cut the manifold because these actually came out okay. So did the bottom bolts. once I've got my impact wrench and a bit of leverage on everything. Right everyone, that's the exhaust off. I'm at a point now where I can put the new manifold on, which I'm going to do just before I do the subframe and all the suspension going back on, because I've got quite a lot of little bits and bobs that I need to get sorted. I do have a weird glob of gunky grease in there. I don't know what's going on with it, but that's been cleaned out now, so hopefully that won't cause us any more issues. Now there are 3 studs that are still in the head. I don't want to mangle with them and try and get them out and cause problems. I've got new studs, but I'm worried that if I start trying to pull at them 3, that I'll damage them, they'll break, or they won't come out of the head, or there'll be some sort of issue. Now I've got new copper washers, copper nuts, so they're going on it. I'm going to clean up the threads with a bit of a wire brush and just put the 2 new studs on these 2.